So I'm currently on a Devon, Larrat, Sam Sulek kick. Devon Larrat, I don't know why I just said Larrat. It's Devon Larrat. I've been a fan of Devon Larrat in the past, but I kind of go back and forth because, arm wrestling is just not, I don't know, it's not that, I think the issue with it, I enjoy it, but I don't think there's just the media ecosystem around it is just not developed yet, and that makes it not as exciting as it could be. So I don't stick with it all the time, but I peek in now and then, and the last couple of weeks I've been big on it. Devon was preparing for a big match with Gennady, and he's just an entertaining guy. He's regardless of even skill at actual arm wrestling, which he is one of the all-time greats. He may at this point be the all-time great, but I would still lean towards John Brzenk. We have a tendency to forget the last guy very quickly and favor the guy that we're watching. But if you look at the whole career of John Brzenk, I think he probably still has that has GOAT status locked down pretty tight for the foreseeable future. But Devon, if there is a contender, it's obviously Devon. And he is getting so ridiculous right now that I think it could be a match against Levon. But the thing that I don't like, I'm staunchly anti performance enhancing drugs. And I think if you don't realize that Devon is on a lot of PEDs right now, you're an idiot. The guy's 49 and he is at his absolute best. It's like Barry Bonds when people thought that, oh wow, you just become your best version of yourself at 38. That's never happened. That's really interesting. It's hello. The guy's always on massive drugs. No, you don't enter your prime at 38. And you certainly don't enter your prime at 49, even though, granted, arm wrestling seems to be a sport in which you can continue to be very good late in life, or at an older age. I shouldn't really say it as drastic as late in life, but there's no doubt that, just look at him. His head is the size of a friggin' pumpkin at this point. He's obviously on massive steroids and growth hormone and all kinds of stuff. And he said things himself that, to me, was just basically admitting that he's taking PEDs without admitting that he's taking PEDs. The first one was, so it was a series of comments that he made about Denis Shaplinkov when he lost that match. Right after the match, he basically said, I don't do some things that these guys are doing, and I just had to accept that I'm not going to be able to compete with them if I'm not going to be doing what they're doing. Well, what do you think he's talking about? Hello? And then he later said, more recently, that he came to the conclusion that after he went against Denis, that he had previously thought that he wouldn't risk his life for arm wrestling, but then he realized after he lost to Denis that anything you love enough, you're gonna, in some form, be willing to risk your life for it. And to me, that was just clearly saying, I have to take PEDs and risk the health problems in order to compete. Because it was in the context of how come suddenly you're so much better now, even though you're 49? And his answer was, I realized I have to be willing to risk my life because I love arm wrestling that much. How else can you interpret that? He obviously decided to take massive PEDs, and then you just look at him. Obviously he's taking massive PEDs. The dude is like a monster. He doesn't look anything like himself anymore. He's much stronger than Denis or anyone but Levon. And he's really to the point now where I want to see him against Levon again because, the guy. But the concern, though, is that this is paying a price. I saw a guy do a video that was saying, oh, Denis is so good. This guy is either just totally naive or I don't know. But he apparently is unaware that Devon is on massive PEDs. because he's like, oh, if Devon's this good at 49, I think he's going to be the first person to be a world champion at 70. And I'm sitting here like, I think the path he's on right now, he might be lucky if he's alive at 70. Because the Peds, along with this bulking up, he's bulking up to over 300 pounds now to compete in super heavy. And then he still wants to compete at lower weight classes. So then he's cutting the weight back down, and then he's ballooning back up. And all the while, he's just on every steroid and growth hormone and everything you could possibly think of. And that is a recipe. That's like asking to have a heart attack. I mean, when you're ballooning up to 300 pounds at the same time that you're on all these steroids and you're 49 years old, like, I really hope this guy's monitoring his blood work very carefully. And I hope he cares, because he made that comment about how he has to be willing to risk his life. Well, I hope he cares about his life, you know. But most people that are fans of the sport, they don't care about the guy as a person. They just find this entertaining, and I admit that I find it today too. I mean, I kind of do like that, because honestly, I pretty much figured he was done after the Dennis match, and this was 7 years ago now. He was 42, and he kind of had run into a group of competitors that were just obviously too strong for him, and I thought that would be it, you know. And then he went this Peds route, and it is entertaining, like having him and his personality still leading the sport and everything. From that standpoint, it is a good thing. And then the other thing, I started for the first time watching Sam Sulek. I don't think I'll be like a consistent watcher of him, but I love Greg Doucette. And I know, you either love the guy or you hate him. And if you hate him, it's like, I feel like everything you think about him is probably true, but it's almost just like you don't get the joke. Because everything you think about him, it's like, yeah, so what? It's funny. Like, oh, he's just a snake oil salesman. He's trying to sell supplements. Well, yeah, no shit. All he cares about is money. It's like, yeah. It's like the guy's just like a joke. It's just pure entertainment. You just turn it on and the guy's hilarious. I mean, the stuff he's doing about Mike Israetel is just absolutely hilarious. I don't even care if you like Mike. I have started to have a little bit lesser of opinion of Mike as his content has gotten more like just like chasing views. It's like not really the same quality that it used to be. But I don't mind Mike, but it's just funny, just lighten up. Greg is just funny. And I actually do agree with most of his stances on lifting and stuff. Because I don't think that he's anti-scientific in any way. I think he's just, he takes science for what it's worth, but he has a lot of experience. He's been very successful. And I really feel like the things he says is what works based on my experience. So I love Greg. And then, he's done videos on Sam Sulek. So I checked out Sam Sulek, and I was just a little bit interested because he was preparing for an actual bodybuilding competition, and he won. And I have to say that I was surprised at how good he looked in this bodybuilding competition, because most of these YouTube people, it's like, yeah, they're good at YouTube, but what are the odds that they have the genetics and the discipline and so forth to actually be able to compete in bodybuilding? It's usually a very slim chance, but he looks really good. Like, I think he, he's still extremely young. I think he could have a pretty successful bodybuilding career. So that's really interesting. But as far as just like following him all the time, I probably won't. But yeah, those are the two things that were going on YouTube for me. That's the kind of stuff I watch on YouTube. I'd really like to see Devon go against Levon again before he gets too old. It doesn't seem like it's on, that it's on the table or in the cards anytime like soon, but hopefully like in the next couple of years. And then I guess at this point, with all the shit Devon's on and how much he's able to bulk up his weight and everything, if he still can't beat him, then I guess that's just it. Maybe just leave it alone. But I would like to see it one more time. with this current version of Devon. That's it. I'll have another update on the weight loss when the time comes, but just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. See ya.